Every year, millions of batteries are thrown away, quietly damaging our environment. But today, I'm going to show you how to turn these seemingly useless batteries into revived energy, super cool, and incredibly cost-effective. Reusing old batteries not only helps save money, but also contributes to protecting the environment. Instead of throwing away batteries that seem drained, we can restore or repurpose them for low-power devices or creative DIY projects. With a bit of knowledge and care, reusing old batteries becomes safe and effective, turning what seems like waste into a valuable energy source while reducing the ever-growing amount of electronic waste. Stay tuned and watch till the end. Now I'm going to pull out the positive terminal, and as I do, the inner core of the battery comes out along with it. Next, I'll move on to the next battery, carefully cutting it open to see if its inside is in better condition or just as damaged as the first one. After opening the battery, I take a small stick and carefully start scraping out all the material inside. The inner core is dry and flaky, breaking apart easily as I dig through it. Bit by bit, I remove the black powdery residue and the compacted layers that have built up over time. Inside, there's a layer of black powder. That's the active core of the battery. It's mostly made of manganese dioxide and carbon, the materials responsible for generating electricity when the battery was still working. Over time, this mixture dries out and loses its power, turning into a brittle, dark residue that shows the battery has truly reached its limit. Next, I'm going to work on the battery core and the outer shell. The inner core still has some residue stuck to it, so I'll clean it thoroughly to remove any remaining powder. To clean both parts, I start with the inner core, wiping it carefully with a dry cloth to remove any leftover black powder or moisture. Once it's clean and smooth, I move on to the outer shell. I peel off the printed label and any plastic wrapping on the surface, revealing the bare metal underneath. This will make it easier to reuse or repurpose later in the project. As for the black powder, I'm going to heat it up to dry it out completely. This will remove any remaining moisture and make the material easier to handle later. I'll do it slowly and carefully to avoid burning it. Just enough heat to let the powder regain a dry, fine texture. Any remaining clumps I'll break down with a small metal punch. Gently tapping and crushing them until the powder is uniformly fine. I do this over a piece of paper to catch the dust, and I wear a mask and safety goggles so nothing gets in my eyes or lungs. Once all the preparation is done, I'm ready to dive into the main part of the project. I'm going to use some baking soda and super glue to secure everything in place. The baking soda helps the glue set quickly and adds a bit of bulk. I pour a small amount of baking soda into the empty battery shell, making sure it spreads evenly along the bottom and sides. Next, I carefully add a few drops of super glue on top of the baking soda, letting it seep in and bind the powder to the shell. Once the shell is nearly filled with baking soda, I place the clean battery core on top, pressing it gently so it sits securely. This ensures that the core stays in position while the glue sets and everything bonds together firmly. Next, I'm going to grind down the remaining tip of battery core. Using a small file or sandpaper, I carefully smooth it out, removing any sharp edges or uneven parts. And just like that, I've finished creating the tip of the soldering tool. It's now smooth, secure, and ready to use for the next DIY tasks. Next, I'll move on to preparing the wiring. This involves selecting the right type of wire, cutting it to length, and stripping the ends so it can connect securely to the battery shell and the soldering tip. I use some strong adhesive tape to secure the wire in place, wrapping it neatly around the connection points. This keeps the wire from moving or coming loose during use, ensuring a stable and safe connection between the battery shell . At the other end, I connect the wire to an alligator clip. This allows me to easily attach the DIY soldering tool to a power source while keeping connection secure and flexible for different tasks. Next, I prepare an additional wire with alligator clips on both ends. One clip will attach securely to the power source, while the other will clamp onto the object I want to solder. For the power source, I'll be using a standard motorcycle battery. It's a 12V lead-acid battery, powerful enough to heat up the soldering tip and stable for small electronics work. This type of battery is easy to find, rechargeable, and delivers consistent current, which makes it perfect for our DIY soldering project. The tip gets glowing hot quickly, allowing it to melt solder and make precise connections. Now I'm going to test it by soldering two razor blades together. After soldering the two razor blades together, the joint feels surprisingly strong. Even when applying pressure or flexing slightly, the blades stay firmly connected without any signs of separation. The solder has bonded well to the thin metal surfaces, creating a solid bridge between them. Now I'm going to fix a small hole in the plastic. I position the soldering tip near the damage area and carefully melt the surrounding plastic, filling the hole and smoothing it out. Next, I place a small piece of steel mesh underneath the work area. This acts as a protective layer, preventing direct contact with the surface below and distributing the heat more even. I use a soldering tool to secure the metal mesh onto the plastic, carefully applying heat along the edges. I melt the plastic just enough for it to grip the mesh firmly. Once cooled, the mesh is firmly embedded, providing extra strength and stability to the repaired area. Next, I take the black battery powder I prepared earlier and use it to fill in the missing sections of plastic. I place some tape underneath the area as a protective layer. This prevents the powder and any melted plastic from spilling onto the surface below. I combine the battery powder with a few drops of super glue, mixing them into a thick paste. Then I press this mixture into the gaps and missing sections of plastic, filling them completely. The glue binds the powder firmly, creating a hard, solid filler that restores the shape and strength of the damaged area. After filling the gaps, I let the glue dry completely. This ensures that the powder and glue mixture hardens into a solid, stable layer, making the repaired plastic strong and ready for the next steps. Once dry, the repaired area is hard and firm to the touch. The black powder blended with the glue forms a solid, slightly rough surface that fills the missing sections completely. It holds its shape well, providing stability and strength, and is now ready for any further finishing or smoothing if needed. If you want a smoother, more polished finish, you can use sandpaper to gently sand the surface. This evens out any rough spots, blends the repair with the surrounding plastic, and gives a cleaner, more professional look. The battery serves as the power source for the DIY soldering tool. It provides the electrical current needed to heat the tip, allowing it to melt solder or plastic. Without the battery, the tool wouldn't generate the necessary heat, so the soldering or repair process wouldn't be possible. Essentially, the battery converts stored chemical energy into electrical energy, which then produces heat at the tip for all the DIY tasks. And that's it. With a few simple materials and some careful steps, we've turned old batteries and scraps into a fully functional DIY soldering tool. Not only does this project give new life to otherwise discarded items, but it also shows how creative thinking and basic materials can solve practical problems. Remember to always handle batteries and hot tools safely, and you'll have a handy, cost-effective tool ready for all your small repair and DIY projects. Not just batteries. Other seemingly useless items around the house can also be given a new life For example, old paint brushes that have worn out bristles or are stained with paint don't have to be thrown away. You can easily transform them into highly useful DIY tools. From dusting hard-to-reach corners with soft bristles to creating effects for craft projects, every old brush can make a comeback in creative ways you might never have imagined. Let's explore how to clean old paint from your paint brushes to save money and keep your tools in the best condition. First, I'll cut the wooden handle in half. This makes the cleaning process much easier and much more thorough. I'll start with how to clean the paintbrush first, and the part about cleaning the roller will be shared at the end of the video. Make sure to watch until the end so you don't miss it. Next, I'll drill a hole right at the newly cut surface. It doesn't need to be large, just big enough to fit a screw. The purpose is to allow me to screw the handle back onto the brush head whenever needed. If I want to repurpose the brush head for other tools or projects, I can simply remove the screw. This method makes the brush head much more flexible and adaptable for various DIY tasks. Now I'll cut off the bolt's head, keeping only the threaded shaft. This way, I can use it as a connector to screw the brush head and the handle together. With just a light twist to let the threads bite into the wood, the bolt shaft will lock firmly inside the brush head. Once the threads are secured, it becomes a new connection point, allowing me to easily screw the handle on or remove it anytime without needing nails or glue like before. Thanks to the threaded shaft being fixed into the brush head, I can easily detach and reattach it anytime. I'll take a bit of paint to test. Just dip the brush head into the paint and try brushing it onto a piece of wood or a test panel. Using the bolt's threaded shaft as a connector provides impressive stability. The bolt bites deep into the wood, creating a solid connection between the brush head and the handle. While brushing, you'll notice that the brush head doesn't wobble or loosen. Even with strong pressure, every movement feels firm and stable. With this method, you shouldn't let your paintbrush go too long before cleaning. Paint that has dried too hard will stick firmly to the bristles, making it difficult to remove and potentially damaging the brush. It's best to clean it immediately after use. This makes the process easier and ensures the brush stays soft and durable, ready for the next painting session. Next, I'll remove the handle and attach the brush head directly to a handheld drill using the threaded bolt. Just screw the bolt into the drill's connection point, and the brush head will be firmly secured. Next, I'll prepare a mixture to clean the old paint stuck on the brush and roller. The main function of thinner is to dissolve the hardened paint stuck on the bristles, making cleaning much easier. Meanwhile, water helps soften any fresh paint and reduces the amount of thinner needed. This way, you don't have to soak the entire brush in thinner, which is both economical and safe for the bristles. Once the bristles are clean, you'll notice each one becoming soft, fluffy, and even no more clumps or stuck paint like before. The bristles look brighter, smoother, and more flexible while brushing. Holding the brush at this stage feels very comfortable, with good elasticity, ready for any future painting session, without worrying about shedding or paint clumps. After finishing cleaning the paintbrush, it's time to move on to the roller. The cleaning method is similar, but there are a few tricks to help the roller quickly become soft again and last longer. Let's see how it's done. To clean the roller, I'll use a bolt larger than the one for the brush head. This bolt will firmly secure the roller core, allowing it to spin evenly when attached to a drill or hand-operated tool. After cleaning the roller head, you'll notice the nap becoming soft, fluffy, and free of dried paint or clumps. The roller looks brighter and the fibers are more flexible, allowing for smooth and even painting on surfaces. Now, the roller is ready for any future painting projects, while significantly extending the tool's lifespan. After cleaning the roller head, you'll notice that the nap has become soft, fluffy, and completely free of dried paint or clumps. Each fiber is separated and flexible, making it much easier to apply paint evenly and smoothly across surfaces. The color of the roller appears brighter, and the texture feels supple to the touch, giving you full control while painting. With the roller fully restored, it's now ready for any upcoming projects, ensuring a professional finish every time. At the same time, this careful cleaning process significantly extends the lifespan of your tool, allowing you to use it safely and efficiently for many more painting sessions. An interesting point you'll notice right away is that when you pour thinner into water, they don't mix but form two distinct layers. The thinner floats on the surface of the water, carrying dissolved paint, creating shimmering, striking streaks of color. When the paint brushes are completely cleaned, the feeling is simply amazing. Each bristle is soft, evenly separated, and ready for any upcoming project. No more clumps or stiffness. What's even more interesting is that you not only save money, but also make the most of your old tools. The brushes can be reused multiple times, attached to different handles, or even combined with a drill for cleaning, mixing paint, or glue. This is a perfect example of smart DIY. Economical, efficient, and incredibly creative. If your paintbrush is too old and can no longer be used for painting, don't throw it away just yet. There are still plenty of creative ways to repurpose it. Another extremely simple way to repurpose is by using an old plastic bottle. I'll cut off the bottom part of the bottle, keeping only the upper section with the neck and cap. Next, I'll use scissors to cut lengthwise along the upper part of the plastic bottle, creating thin fringe-like strips. As for the brush, I'll remove all the bristles, keeping only the wooden handle. This handle can be repurposed as a grip for other tools, a stirring stick. Next, I'll drill a small hole at the end of the wooden handle that was kept. This hole will serve as a fixed point to attach other accessories, such as a bolt for a new brush head, a DIY brush, or to hang it when not in use. Drilling the hole makes the handle more versatile, allowing it to be used for many different purposes while remaining sturdy. Next, I'll secure the upper part of the plastic bottle to the wooden handle. Simply insert the handle through the drilled hole and fasten it with a bolt or strong adhesive. And the bottle body will be held upright on the handle. By attaching the wooden handle with the plastic bottle body to a drill, you can completely transform it into a highly convenient mixing tool. With the drill's steady rotation, it can be used to mix paint, glue, or even in the kitchen to beat eggs or stir batter. This is a perfect example of DIY creativity. From an old brush and a discarded plastic bottle, you can create a versatile tool that is both practical and fun. Next, I'll crack the eggs into a bowl and separate out the yolks, keeping only the egg whites. The goal is to whip the egg whites into a light, fluffy foam, perfect for baking or dessert recipes. By using the drill with a homemade attachment made from a brush and plastic bottle, whipping the egg whites becomes much faster and more efficient compared to doing it by hand. As I start the drill, the homemade whisk spins smoothly and evenly through the egg whites. You can see the mixture gradually thicken, forming soft peaks that slowly rise. Tiny bubbles appear, giving the egg whites a light, airy texture. The foam grows steadily, becoming glossy and stable, while the motion of the whisk ensures every part of the bowl is mixed thoroughly. Once the egg whites are fully whipped, they are light, airy, and hold their shape perfectly. The foam is glossy, smooth, and stable, ready to be folded into batter or used for desserts. Using the drill with the DIY whisk attachment made the process much quicker and more efficient than doing it by hand, turning what used to be a labor-intensive task into something simple, fun, and satisfying.